because I just didn't have a need for it, but that need has arisen because the upcoming project, it's going to be all about grids. So now's the time. And you're going to be using this website called CSS Grid Garden to learn. It's made by the same person who created Flexbox Froggy, the last video where Iris was learning to use Flexbox. So I had a really good experience with Flexbox Froggy, so I'm going to give CSS Grid Garden a try. Let's start. Welcome to Grid Garden, where you write CSS code to grow your carrot garden. Water only the areas that have carrots by using grid column start property. For example, grid column start 3 will water the area starting at the third vertical grid line. So that's first, second, third. Okay. Which is another way of saying the third vertical border from the left in the grid. Okay. Grid column start 2. Okay, so this counts as 1. So 1, 2, and then 3. The example was answered. Cool. Looks like weeds are growing in the corner of your garden. Use grid column start to poison them. Note that the weeds start at the 5th vertical grid line. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Grid column start 5. When grid column start is used alone, the grid item by default will span exactly 1 column. However, you can extend the item across multiple columns by adding grid column end property. Using grid column end, water all your carrots while avoiding the dirt. We don't want to waste any water. Note that carrots start at the 1st vertical grid line and end at the 4th. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So grid column end 1, 2, 3, 4. Is that how it works? Wait, I don't understand this grid column end. Specify a grid item's end position within the grid columns. Oh. So 1, 2, 3. Should be 3, I think. Oh, I see. So 2 would be like end here, 3 ends here, 4 ends here. So then we could like encapsulate a portion of a row of columns. When pairing grid column start and grid column end, you might assume that the end value has to be greater than the start value, but that is not true. By setting grid column end to a value less than 5 to water your carrots. Okay, so if we start at 5, we want to end at 1. Okay, 1 is there, so 2. Okay, well, if you want to count grid lines from the right instead of the left, you can give grid column start and grid column end negative values. For example, you can set it to -1 to specify the first grid line from the right. Try setting grid column end to a negative value. So that's a feature, but I don't see when I would want to use that feature. If you want to count grid lines from the right instead of the left. Maybe like when I use justify content reverse, then maybe, or flex direction reverse. But then if I'm using Flexbox, I want to use grid, or maybe there is an instance where I use both. I don't know, but let's just do this. Maybe when I start implementing, it'll come up. Grid column end -1, -2. Okay. Oh, I see. So maybe you just don't want to, like, if this was very long and you don't want to do that, and you see it's just 1 away from the end, then this is more convenient, I suppose. If you, okay, now try setting grid column start to a negative value. Grid column start -2, 3. Instead of defining a grid item based on the start and end position of the grid lines, you can define it based on your desired column width with the span keyword. Keep in mind that span only works with positive values. For example, water these carrots with the rule grid column and span 2. Okay, so if we did 3, okay. So we're saying, so by span, we're just adding onto wherever we start. Okay. Try using grid column n with the span keyword again to water your carrots. So on 5, 6. Oh, still works. Interesting. You can also use span keyword with grid column start to set your items width relative to the end position. Okay. Try both grid column start and grid column end. Every time typing can get tiring. Fortunately, grid column is a shorthand property that can set both values at once, separated by a slash. Grid column, that's convenient. 1, 2, 3, 4, /5. Oh wait, /6. Okay, looks pretty simple so far. Try using grid column to water these carrots. Span keyword also works with the shorthand property. Column. So we're starting at 2, span 3. Is that how it works? No. Grid column. So span 3. Yeah. Vertical. One of the things that sets CSS grids apart from flexbox is that you can easily position items in 2 dimensions, columns and rows. Grid row start works much like grid column start, except along the vertical axis. Use grid row start to water these carrots. Okay. So row is vertical, column is horizontal. I feel like that's opposite of the words, but okay. 1, 2, 3. Well, I guess, okay, that kind of makes sense, because then row 1, row 2, row 3, column 1, 2, 3. Okay, yeah. Row. So 3, span 3. Using grid column and grid row at the same time to set position in both dimensions. Let's try that. Grid column. So this is 2 and 3. Yeah. Grid row. I'm thinking negative, so let's try that. Oh wait, was negative allowed? I think it wasn't. Well, I could just try it. -2. It does work. But it didn't allow negative. Let's complete that and go back. Oh, that one looked interesting. Oh, span maybe? Try setting Span only works with positive values. Okay. You can also use grid column and grid row together to span larger areas within the grid. Give it a try. Okay, so we want grid column 2 span 4, grid row 1 span 5. If typing out both grid column and grid row is too much for you, nice, there's yet another shorthand for that. Grid area accepts 4 values separated by slashes. So it's grid dash row start, and then column start, and then row end, followed by column end. Row start, row end, column end. One example, okay. Okay, so this is grid area. What was it? Row start. So that's row 1. Column starts at 2. And row ends at 3. Span 3. Column ends at span 4. How about multiple items? You can overlap them without any trouble using grid area to define a second area that covers all of the unwatered carrots. Oh, so water 1 and then water 2, so you can overlap them, okay? Grid area. We are starting at row 2, column 1, 2, 3. And we are ending at row 4. Wait. Row 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Because then starts line here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. And we are ending at column 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Span better. Well, it's good to get practice with both. If grid items aren't explicitly placed with grid area, grid column, grid row, etc., they are automatically placed according to their order in the source code. We can override this using the order property, which is one of the advantages of grid over table-based layout. By default, all grid items have an order of 0, but this can be set to any positive or negative value, similar to z-index. Right now, the carrots in the second column are being poisoned and the weeds in the last column are being watered. Change the order value of the poison to fix this right away. Okay. Order is 5. Oh, that's convenient. And now the water and poison are alternating even though all the weeds are at the start of your garden. Set the order of the poisons to remedy this. Okay. Okay, what? Specify the order of grid item. Oh, so order -1? Yeah. To this point, you've had your garden set up as a grid with 5 columns, each 20% of the full width, and 5 rows, each 20% of the full height. Does it talk about this? This was done with the rules grid template columns 2020 and grid template rows 2020. Each rule has 5 values which create 5 columns, each set to 20% of the overall width of the garden. But you can set the grid up however you like. Give grid template columns a new value. To water your carrots, you will want to set the width of the first column to be 50%. Okay, grid template columns, 50%. Okay, 20%. What is happening? Oh, I see what's happening. It's cool. So now what? Huh. Okay. Specifying a bunch of columns with identical widths can get tedious. Luckily, there's a repeat function to help with that. For example, we previously defined 20% columns with the rule grid template columns 2020. This can be simplified as grid template columns repeat 5, 20%. Using grid template columns with the repeat function, create 8 columns, each with 12.5% width. This way you won't overwater your garden. Okay. And 5, 12, oh, 8, 12.5%. Okay. Grid template columns doesn't just accept values and percentages, but also length units like pixel and EMs. You can even mix different units together. Here, set 3 columns to 100%, 100 pixels, 3 EM, and 40% respectively. Columns, 100 pixel, 3 EM, 40%. Ooh. It. 3 columns. Grid template columns with an N. Okay. Damn, that's a lot of control. I like that. Grid also introduces a new unit, the fractional FR. Each FR unit allocates 1 share of the available space. For example, if 2 elements are set to 1 FR and 3 FR respectively, the space is divided into 4 equal shares. The first element occupies 1/4, second 3/4, and any leftover space. Here, weeds make up the left 1/6 of your first row, and carrots the remaining 5/6. Create 2 columns with these lists using FR units. Don't really get it. Okay. Introduces FR. Set to 1 FR and 3 FR. So first element takes 1 for, oh, okay. I think I get it. Grid template columns 1, 6, and then repeat. Oh wait, repeat 5. Wait, no, wait, that's, hey, 1 FR. Set if 2 elements are set to 1 FR and 3 FR. 3. Okay. No, that's not it. Weeds make up 1/6 of your first row and carrots the remaining 5. Oh, so it's just 2 columns. And then 5 far. Let's see. Okay. When columns are set with pixels, percentage, or EMs, any other column set with the FR will divvy up the space that's left over. Here the carrots form a 50 pixel column on the left and weeds a 50 pixel column on the right. With grid template columns, create these 2 columns and use FR to make 3 more columns that take up the remaining space in between. Well then. So we want 50 pixel, and then we want 3 more columns. Okay. That take up the space in between. Huh. What does that do? That, but not quite. Carrots form 50 pixels on the left, weeds a 50 pixel on the right. With grid template columns, create these 2 columns and use FR to make 3 more columns that take up the remaining space in between. That right? Yeah. Okay. Now there is a 75 pixel column of weeds on the left side of your garden. 3/5 of the remaining space is growing carrots, while 2/5 has been overrun with weeds. Okay, so grid template columns, 75 pixels, 3/5 growing carrots, 2/5 overrun with weeds. So 1FR, 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 2/5, 2FR. Okay, no? Okay. 75 pixels on the left, 3/5 growing carrots, 2/5 overrun with weeds. Yeah, that's not it. So, like, how does this work? Hmm. 75 pixels is definitely right. I'm not so sure about this stuff. 3/5 is growing carrots. 2/5 has been overrun with weeds. So I was under impression that this means 3 columns of 1/5, which will make up 3/5. And then this last one will be 2/5. But apparently not. That is the difference. So like, what if I did that? Okay. Seems right. 3/5. Oh, maybe they want only 3 columns. Yeah. Okay, gotcha. Works, grid template rows works much the same as grid template columns. Use grid template rows to water all but the top 50 pixels of your garden. Note that the water is set to fill only your 5th row, so you'll need to create 5 rows in total. Okay, so first 50 pixels, grid template columns, 50 pixels, wait, rows, not columns, 50 pixels, and then on FR, on FR, see, 5 rows. We've got 5 rows. Note that the order is set to fill only your 5th row. Okay. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hey. That's, I don't understand what it wants. Using grid template rows, water all, but all. Okay, gotcha. So we want. How do we do this? So 0 F4, is that an option? Looks like it is. And then this will be 1 F4. Yeah. Okay. That's interesting. Grid template is a shorthand property that combines grid template rows and grid template columns. For example, grid template 50/50 over 200 will create a grid with 2 rows that are 50% each and 1 column that is 200 pixels wide. Try using grid template to water an area that includes the top 60 and left 200. Ooh, this is nice, but also I need to think about this. So the first one is grid template rows, and we want top 60. Okay, so that means there's gonna be a 60 and 40% split for rows, and then left 200 pixels. 200, wait, grid template rows happens first. Rows controls vertical space. So if we want, yeah, top, oh, yeah, that's fine. So 200 pixels and then like 1 FR or something like that. Yeah. Your garden is looking great. Here you've left a 50 pixel path at the bottom of your garden and filled the rest with carrots. Unfortunately, the left 20% of your carrots have been overrun with weeds. Use CSS. Grid one last time to treat your garden. Okay, so what do we want to do? Your garden is looking great. You've left 50 pixels at the bottom. Unfortunately, left 20% have been overrun with weeds. So I'm definitely gonna need the thing I just did, grid template, and we are gonna split, delete, no, wait. So everything from the path, 1FR, 50 pixels, and then 1FR, 5FR, or is it 4FR? Yeah, cool. I did it! You win. By the power of CSS Grid, you were able to grow enough carrots for Froggy to bake his world-famous 20-carat cake. What were you expecting? A different hobby, friend? Oh, I see. If you enjoyed Grid Garden, be sure to check out Fluxbox Friday to learn about another powerful new feature of CSS layout. You can also find new coding games over at CodePip. Want to support Grid Garden? Try top-notch web design and coding courses offered by Treehouse. And Treehouse sounds familiar. And spread the word to your friends and family about about Grid Garden. I liked those. Is pretty good. I think that shorthand solves all my woes. Let's check out Treehouse. What is Treehouse? I think I've been to this site before. Neat. So that's CSS Grid Garden. That I found was very helpful. Maybe you could give it a try too. And I think I'm ready to work on the project now. So I think I'm going to start off with building the map, which is why I wanted to do this, learning CSS Grid. And I'll see you in that next video. Thanks for tagging along. And yeah, we'll get started with the project real soon. Cool.